Bears fans and many people across the league are mourning the loss of Chicago Bears owner Virginia McCaskey this morning. And for the most part, she stayed out of the public eye, but she was very well respected everywhere she went. And nobody in Chicago knows the Bears better than our very own Lou Canellis. Thanks for being here this morning, Lou.
Good morning, Brian. Great to be with you.
Well, Virginia was the Bears owner for more than 4 decades. What can you tell us about her legacy that she left around the league?
Wow, she was a woman of grace. She was so well respected around the NFL, amongst other NFL owners, players, coaches, and frankly, even fans. You know, ownership in this town gets a hard time from fans when things aren't going well. But when it came to Virginia McCaskey, there was a certain amount of respect that fans always had for Virginia McCaskey, despite the struggles of the Bears. And that'll just tell you a little about the woman that we're talking about. I mean, players, coaches would go to Hallis Hall, especially newcomers like Ben Johnson, the new head coach of the Bears, and they were excited to meet Virginia McCaskey. I'm not sure if Ben ever had the opportunity to meet Virginia because of her situation with her health since he was hired as head coach. But the respect that she demanded, and she was, you know, a soft-spoken woman, but when she delivered a message, it was delivered loud and clear. And I had one of the most fortunate opportunities, and that was during the 100-year anniversary back in 2019, to sit down and talk to Virginia. And I've talked about it at length at the station on the Fox 32 here about being a season ticket holder, my family, since the 1960s. And we had a chance to chat back in 2019, and it was definitely one of the highlights of my career, having the chance to sit down with Virginia, George Hallis's daughter.
And we know that Virginia, for the most part, kind of did her thing behind the scenes. What can you tell our fans about maybe her role that she had with the Bears that maybe a lot of our fans didn't quite know about?
Well, I think a lot of fans do know that she was very much a fan. I mean, George McCaskey shared with the media and with the fans back in 2014 that she was, quote, pissed with the way things had worked out at that time under general manager Phil Emery and head coach Mark Trestman. Listen, I'm not sure there was a bigger Bears fan, excuse me, than Virginia McCaskey. She was very involved in decisions. I'm not sure about recently, over recent years, but until she was, you know, in her late 80s, 90s, I know that she was actively still going to Hallis Hall, and George always kept her in the loop when major decisions were taking place with the organization, whether it was the hiring or firing of a general manager or head coach, or the hiring of President Kevin Warren, or the retirement of Ted Phillips. Virginia was always kept in the loop, and she was incredibly sharp, even late in her years. I mean, and as I said, her passion. I had a chance to talk with former Bears coach Dave Wanstead yesterday, and, you know, Hall of Famer Dan Hampton, who and Hub Arkish, who's been covering the Bears on the media beat for 40 plus years. And they both shared stories of Virginia being at games. She would go to the away games on the team plane. Players would walk by her when they'd get on the plane to come back to Chicago following a game. And if they had played poorly, man, they were like, oh, they felt like they let her down. She was very much involved and in tune with the way the Bears played and the way the organization was run.
And Lou, on paper, the Bears are set up for long-term success. They got the quarterback, and they've got the GM and the coach. What would you say is next for Bears ownership now?
Well, what's next for Bears ownership, because as you just mentioned, they have a head coach, they have a new coaching staff, they've got $60 million to spend in free agency, should they so choose, and then they have the draft coming up in April. What's next? And this is, you know, to quote Kevin Warren, shovel in the ground in 2025 for a new stadium. And where it is, that's the question. Is it in Arlington Heights, the land that the family has purchased? Is it on the lakefront? That would take a lot of finagling with the governor and the mayor and where they're going to come up with the money to make that happen. Or is it potentially at the Michael Reese Hospital site? Our Paris Schutz has reported that the state government claims it has some $400 million and federal money to help out with the building of roads in the Bronzeville neighborhood. My guess is this is going to move quickly now, so we can get shovel in the ground in 2025.
That is what the Bears would like to see. Lou, thanks so much for your time this morning as we look back on the life and legacy of Virginia McCaskey.
Thanks, Brian.